Millionaire CEO stunned witnessing black girl with disability bullied at school. Marcus Reed's world was made of steel and glass. His high-rise office perched above the restless streets of downtown Chicago, the skyline sprawling like a living beast beneath a cold autumn sky. Every morning, sharp suits, endless meetings, and corporate wins filled his calendar. Yet today, something sharper than any deal cut through his armor. Something no wealth or power could dull. It was just past 9 when Maya stormed into his office. 10 years old, curls as wild as autumn leaves in a blustery wind, eyes wide and urgent. In her small hands, she gripped a crumpled drawing, vivid lines and colors, frantic yet hopeful. It wasn't the art that shook Marcus. It was what Maya said next. "There's a girl at school, Lila. She's always alone. They push her, call her names, because of her wheelchair." Maya's voice broke like a sudden frost. "They don't see her like we do, Dad. And it's not fair." Marcus stared, the drawing a blur. His fingers tightened around his coffee mug. The cold ceramic bit against his skin. But inside, his chest clenched tight, as if someone had grabbed his heart and squeezed. His daughter's face, bright, innocent, yet carrying the weight of a hidden war, made the silence in his office deafening. Outside, the city pulsed with its usual chaos, but here, the walls pressed in, mocking his success. How could he call himself a leader in a world where a little girl like Lila suffered in the shadows? His mind spun. Days away was his charity gala, a glittering night meant to celebrate generosity and goodwill, the kind that draped over him like a second suit. Cameras would flash. Words of praise would float through marble halls. Yet what good was all that if the real fight, the messy, painful one, was unfolding in Maya's classroom? Marcus's eyes darted to the window, scanning the crowds below. Thousands living their daily battles. Some quiet, some loud, all real. And here he was, torn between a polished image and raw, urgent truth. Then Maya's voice found him again, soft but steady. "Dad, I want to help her, but I don't know how." She looked up, hope flickering through tears. It wasn't just a schoolyard problem anymore. It was a call to action, and he wasn't sure if he had the courage or the time. What if stepping in meant opening a door he couldn't close? What if the spotlight tore this fragile fight apart instead of fixing it? Suddenly, his phone chimed. The screen lit up with a name he didn't recognize but dreaded. Jade Black, the fierce social media influencer known for stirring storms. Her message was blunt, threatening to blow his gala sky high if he chose to take sides publicly. Marcus's jaw clenched. Fight for Lila and risk losing everything? Or protect his empire and let silence win? The room felt colder, the city's roar below turning into a silent thunder. What would he sacrifice to stand up? What kind of father could he be if he turned away now? Outside, the wind picked up, rattling the windows like a warning. The stakes were rising, and the night of the gala loomed like a ticking clock. Marcus swallowed hard. The biggest decision of his life was waiting. Just beyond the glass, in the bustling streets, and in the heart of a little girl named Lila. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And while you're there, drop a powerful like. It really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know each incredible person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Outside, the wind howled like a warning siren, and the city seemed to press closer against the glass. Marcus's heart raced as he felt the weight of his daughter's hope pressing down like a leaden blanket. The choice loomed over him, dark and monstrous, an impending storm ready to unleash chaos. But just as Marcus was about to respond to Maya, another sound broke through the tension. A shattering crash. His office door flew open, revealing James, Marcus's powerhouse assistant, breathless and wide-eyed. "Sir, you need to see this." Panic rippled through his voice, an urgent plea that broke the moment like glass. "James, can't you see?" But Marcus was interrupted as James rushed further in, his eyes darting nervously to Maya before locking onto Marcus. "It's about Lila. You need to see this video." Maya's small fingers loosed their grip on the drawing, her eyes widening. "What video?" James hurriedly produced his phone, the screen illuminating his pale face. A video of Lila, made by somebody at her school. The footage showed a group of kids cornering her during recess. The images twisted in Marcus's gut as he watched Lila, struggling to pull herself away from mocking hands. Her wheelchair tipped slightly to the side. But what made Marcus's breath catch was the unmistakable figure of Maya's friend, Kelly, mocking Lila alongside the bullies. "That can't be," Marcus whispered, his throat tightening. His instinct was to protect Maya from the truth, but it stabbed through him like a knife. "Kelly? How could she?" A twisted knot of confusion and anger churned in his stomach. Maya's brows furrowed, her innocence fraying. "No, she wouldn't do that. She's my best friend." But the evidence was there, undeniable. A betrayal cloaked in familiarity. Suddenly, the phone buzzed again. Another notification lighting up the screen. An urgent message. Lila's mother, Anna, was reaching out. The tone was frantic, revealing shocking news that turned Marcus's world upside down. "Lila's family is facing eviction," James read aloud, his voice trembling. "They're out of options, and the school has turned a blind eye." Marcus felt every muscle in his body tense. Along with the image of Lila's suffering was the heartbreaking reality that no one had even bothered to consider the underlying problem. All this time, the bullying had festered amidst economic despair. His fortune felt like a curse. "How could I have missed this?" he whispered, the weight of responsibility crashing over him. And then, as if the universe delighted in its irony, a text came through. A single word. Betrayal. It was from Jade Black. Attached was a photo of him and Anna at a charity event 5 years ago. Their laughter caught mid-step, eyes shining. It wasn't just a simple photo. It was a secret. The connection to Lila he never knew existed. The entire premise of his life shifted. What other connections had he overlooked? What ties to the oppression he had claimed to fight stood hidden in plain sight, intertwined with his own daughter's friendships? Maya reached for the phone, but Marcus stopped her, dread pooling in his stomach. "No, Maya, listen to me. There's something you need to understand." But the words lodged in his throat, utterly failing to capture the chaos spilling into their lives. The revelation loomed in the air like a thundercloud, laden with unspoken truths that tethered Meniel. And outside, the city seemed to echo his driven heartbeat, a reminder that the fight for Lila had become a tangled web far beyond his understanding. It was no longer just about standing up against bullies. Now, it was a battle against buried inheritance, emotional ties, and the raw pain of betrayal, all hanging precariously over him. Would he expose the truth, risking everything? Or would hidden connections keep him bound to silence? The stakes had transformed, shifting like autumn leaves, and Marcus knew that stepping off this precipice could change everything, forever. Marcus stood frozen, the weight of Maya's innocent hope juxtaposed against the darkening storm of revelations. Each breath felt heavy, laden with a truth that threatened to unravel every facet of his carefully constructed life. The air crackled with tension, its chill seeping into his bones. As he tried to process the video's implications, a sudden clap of thunder shattered the silence, matching the turmoil in. "Sir, it's escalating." Relief was almost palpable as Justin, Marcus's trusted friend and fixer, burst through the door. But the gravity in the air changed instantly. Justin's expression, typically calm and collected, was twisted with anxiety. "Marcus, we need to act fast." Before he could ask what was happening, the tension escalated. From behind Justin, a commotion erupted in the hallway. A loud voice, demands, raw and frantic. "Let me in. I have a right to know." The door swung open, and in walked Annabelle, Lila's mother, her face streaked with tears that glimmered like broken glass. "You knew! You all knew!" she shouted, eyes wild and desperate. "My daughter is suffering, and you're all pretending it doesn't matter." Maya stepped back, startled, as if a wild animal had entered their sanctuary. Marcus felt the air itself thicken with dread. "Anna, But she kept coming, storming closer, confrontation hanging like an unyielding cloud. "This has gone far enough, Marcus. You think this is some trivial charity? You have a responsibility. Lila needs you." "Of course I care," he shot back. "But care? You call that care? You don't even know your own past." Her voice cracked, a jagged edge slicing through the room. "Do you really think you're that removed from this? You have no idea who you're dealing with." Whispers erupted from James and Justin, their wide eyes darting back and forth as if caught in a whirlwind, desperate for a resolution. But they were drowned out by Anna's impassioned fury. Lila's father? He used to work for you, Marcus. He was one of the first to lose his job when you made cuts. You think we haven't seen the consequence of your corporate decisions? This is personal. Maya's face blanched in pure shock, confusion clouding her features as the reality tore through them like a raging storm. What do you mean? The truth loomed, a specter hanging heavy in the air. He was a good man, but your actions pushed him to his limits. Anna's voice softened, revealing the crack beneath her fury. And now his child is paying the price. Your charity, it's inextricably tied to your failures. Marcus's heart thudded, the implications rocketing through him. Lila was the daughter of a man he had buried under the weight of profit margins and bottom lines, a fate he'd thrust upon a family he never realized he was connected to. But the chaos didn't end there. As Annabelle turned, her phone buzzed loudly again. Another text, this one from Jade Black, sending everything spiraling further. You don't want the truth out there. Take this down a notch, or I'll expose everything. The stakes were no longer just Lila's pain. The entire foundation of who he was began to crumble. He realized then that he could no longer remain the man who shied away from hard truths. The whispers in the air began to drown in the recognition of his past, his mistakes echoing like a siren's wail. As silence fell again, Marcus stared at Maya, at Anna, at the hollowness of his own privilege. A choice, darker than external battles, encroached upon him. What would he do now? Would he defend his empire, or fight for a young girl teetering on the brink of despair, tangled in a mess he had unknowingly woven? The truth, as blinding as the flash of city lights, hung there, unspoken, anticipating action and consequence. And in that fragile moment, before the storm, the air crackled with tension, its chill seeping into his bones. Suddenly, Anna's phone buzzed loudly again, vibrating like a wildfire threatening to engulf them all. She glanced down, and her face turned ashen, a stark contrast to the fury that had pulsed through her moments before. "No, it can't be," she whispered, horror etched across her features. "What is it?" Marcus asked, a knot tightening in his stomach. "Lila has gone missing." Anna's voice broke, raw and trembling. "She must have run off after the bullying. I was just on the phone with her teacher, but she's gone." A collective gasp echoed around the room, and the air thickened with dread. Maya's hands flew to her mouth, disbelief flashing in her eyes, while James and Justin exchanged pale, frantic glances. "Why wasn't I told sooner?" Marcus shouted, a surge of panic igniting his urgency. The ghosts of his indifference loomed large. This could have been prevented, all of it. Where could she be? Anna's phone buzzed again, this time with a barrage of notifications crowding the screen. "There are rumors," she began, her voice cracking as she scrolled through. "People saying she was last seen at the park, by the pond." "Let's go," Marcus commanded, urgency consuming him. "We need to find her. Every second counts." As they turned to leave, the atmosphere shifted with another buzz, this time from Justin's phone. He was pale, his fingers trembling as he read the incoming message. "It's a video. Someone just posted it." "Show me," Marcus demanded, heart racing. He leaned in closer, desperation clawing at his throat As the video played, a dark scene, a dimly lit area with silhouettes of children, laughter intertwined with ominous whispers. The moment Marcus caught sight of Lila's wheelchair, his blood ran cold. But the laughter, a cruel, mocking melody, came from familiar voices. A close-up of Kelly flashed on screen. Heck, that girl thinks she's so special? What's that chair even for? Her sneering words pierced through him like a dagger. Maya reeled back, confusion and betrayal melding on her face. No, Kelly wouldn't. But Marcus could only watch as the reality crashed down around them. Just then, another seismic shift occurred. Justin's expression morphed from shock to terror, his mouth falling open. Wait a minute. That's not just any video. Look at the account. It's Jade Black's. She's streaming this live. A realization washed over them like a tidal wave. Marcus's fists clenched. She's playing us. She knows our every move. But before he could press further, Anna gasped, pulling at the sleeves of her sweater, revealing something, an intricate bracelet glinting as it caught the light. You don't understand. This belonged to Lila's father. He wanted me to keep it safe. He had a reason. What reason? Maya's voice trembled, standing at the precipice of innocence lost. Because. Anna hesitated, emotion flooding her gaze. Because he was never meant to be a victim. He was on the inside. Inside? Marcus echoed, a knot forming in his gut. Inside the company? He was an employee in your firm, Marcus. A whistleblower. He discovered something about your operations. The world around him tilted, gravity disappearing. The implications unfurled like a shattered story, revealing connections Marcus had never imagined. The charity, Lila's suffering, the bullying, intertwined in a web of deceit leading back to him. Thunder rumbled outside, shaking the ground beneath them. And Marcus felt every heartbeat echo like a drum of doom in his ears. Lila's fate was no longer just a consequence of bullying. It was the outcome of secrets buried deep within his empire. And now the stakes were personal, tearing through the fabric of their lives. As the cracks in his carefully built facade bled into a gaping chasm, he realized this was more than just his empire at stake. Someone had played a dangerous game, and soon the truth would be their only option. What further darkness lay hidden, and who else would be caught in the crossfire? Beneath the tremors of heavy rain, darkness loomed, suspending everything in a dreadful silence. Beneath the tremors of heavy rain, darkness loomed. Whistleblower? Marcus choked, disbelief clawing at him. What? How could I have not known? But Anna's intense gaze held more than grief. It burned with a desperate fire. He discovered something about your business practices, something they wanted to silence. Her voice hardened, the accusation hanging heavy. And Lila is paying the price for it. In that moment of reckoning, Marcus felt as though the ground shifted beneath his feet. Shadows moved in the corners of his mind, memories flickering that had long been buried. Suddenly, a muted vibration rattled the air. A soft, but persistent tapping. At first, it was inconsequential, blending into the chaos. But then, it crescendoed into a frenetic pounding, echoing like a heartbeat, echoing through the room. "Do you hear that?" Maya's voice cracked through the tension, pulling them all from the brink of despair. "It's getting closer. What is it?" Before anyone could respond, the office door burst open with a jarring slam, sending everyone recoiling back. A figure stood framed in the doorway, drenched and wild-eyed, a girl in a wheelchair. It was Lila. But something wasn't right. She wasn't alone. A second figure loomed behind her, tall and imposing, face obscured in shadow. The room fell stark silent, breath stolen in a collective gasp. Lila's eyes were wide, filled with a mix of fear and defiance, a tempest barely contained within her small frame. I overheard them," she stammered, voice trembling yet steadfast. "It was all a plan, a conspiracy. They tried to take me away." "Who, Lila?" Marcus fumbled, suddenly torn between relief and dread. "Who tried to take you?" The darkness beside her shifted, stepping forward into the light. It was an older girl, familiar yet terrifying. Kelly, the same girl who had betrayed her, who had played the part of a friend with venomous intent. But this time, her expression was different. Unreadable. "Kelly, what are you doing?" Marcus demanded, anger slicing through the fog of confusion. "Stand back!" "No!" Lila shouted, her voice a toughened shell, brimming with anger. "You don't understand. Kelly's not just a bully. She's been threatened too." A stunned silence blanketed the room as the revelation sank in. "Threatened?" Marcus echoed, eyes darting between the two girls. "What do you mean?" "Jade Black," Kelly's voice was low, heavy with an unveiled truth. "She's been manipulating us all, using everyone to distract from what she's really doing. I'm not a bad person, Suddenly, Anna gasped, lunging forward, eyes wide with realization. "The pictures, the ones from the gala. She has contacts in your firm, Marcus. This is bigger than just bullying. She's launching a smear campaign to ruin you. It was all a setup." The air thickened with disbelief, tension stretching like taut wire. Each word felt like an unraveling thread, pulling at the seams of their lives. "Then we've all been pawns in her game." Marcus's voice trembled, the implications crashing over him like a tidal wave. "But why?" "Because," Lila interjected, her voice cutting through the chaos, "she wants to expose you for the things your father did. What he did to my dad." Clarity struck like a lightning bolt, shocking them into silence once more. The secrets hidden within his family creaked into view, the weight of betrayal and past sins flooding back in rapid succession. And in that moment, as the storm continued to rage outside, Marcus could feel his reality crack open like an ancient relic. The truth was far deeper than he ever anticipated. With hearts hammering, they now stood on the precipice of chaos, facing a truth so devastating it could shatter everything. A twisted legacy, a conspiracy spinning tighter, with stakes that reached far beyond Lila and their immediate anger. Rumbles of thunder reverberated, echoing the fear that spread like wildfire. What secrets lay hidden now, threatening to engulf them? And just how far would Jade Black go to achieve her brutal endgame? The night was still young, and the real battle was only beginning. The storm raged outside, each crash of thunder echoing the tumult within the room. Lila's revelation hung in the air, tinged with urgency and desperation. Suddenly, each heartbeat seemed to thrum louder, resonating with the weight of the secrets just unveiled. The world outside faded into a blur of rain-soaked chaos. Yet every pair of eyes was fixed on Lila and Kelly, waiting for the next cue in this unfolding drama. "Jade Black wants revenge," Anna murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "But why tie it to Lila? Why such cruelty?" "I don't know, but we can't waste time," Marcus shot back, urgency firing through him. "If we don't figure this out, Lila could be in real danger." But Lila raised her hand, cutting through the panic that threatened to engulf them all. "Wait! It's bigger than Jade. There's someone else, someone important who's involved." Marcus's stomach twisted, a foreshadowing of a danger he couldn't quite grasp. "Who?" Maya pleaded, eyes darting between them. With a tremor, Lila glanced at Kelly, then back to Marcus. "It's about your company, the decisions you make, the people you trust." She hesitated, the moisture in her eyes pooling with unshed tears. "There's a reason Jade has this power over you, because she's tied to something you don't even realize." Kelly nodded, stepping cautiously closer. "Lila and I overheard something they said at the park, about a hidden account, funding secret operations tied to your father's old dealings." Before Marcus could process the accusation, a sharp, wailing sound cut through the tension. The office phone blaring, relentless. In one motion, James rushed to the receiver, panic marking his features. "It's an urgent call from corporate compliance, Marcus. They say you need to get on now." "Take the call," Anna urged, her voice aflame in the suffocating darkness. "Whatever it is, we need answers." James scrambled to press the button, the speaker crackling to life. "Marcus, it's bad. It's about the videos, about Lila and the bullying." A pause stretched thin, taut with anxiety. "They're not just happening at one school." A collective gasp punctured the air, like a sudden gasp of breath. "What do you mean?" Marcus's eyes widened, hope and dread spiraling into a vortex. "Lila's school isn't the only place this is happening. Multiple schools are coming forward with similar reports. They're all connected, and there's someone orchestrating it behind the scenes." "Who?" Anna's voice broke, reverberating with urgency. Then, as if the world itself paused, the room was drowned in a sound that silenced every voice. A string of urgent notifications erupted from the phone. Kelly's expression froze, her eyes locked on the screen as another video launched, live streaming. "What fresh hell is this?" Marcus muttered, dread creeping up his spine. "Wait, wait!" Kelly shrieked, tackling the device from James's hands. The image unfolded like a dark tapestry, footage revealing a clandestine meeting held behind the school. A familiar figure stepped forward, a tall and imposing man. A figure Marcus had once trusted implicitly. Is that? Dots. Marcus's breath caught, heart racing as the camera panned. That's my uncle. The shock rippled through the room like an electric shockwave. What? Maya's voice trembled. But he's harmless? Marcus spat, disbelief mingled with horror. He's been the face of my family's initiatives for years. But the footage didn't lie. As the screen illuminated their faces, heated whispers of conspiracy ignited. He's been funding the puppet show, Marcus. Behind him was a network of social media influencers. Jade was just the tip of the iceberg. Lila gasped, the pieces falling into place like dominoes. No! A fabric of betrayal wove tightly around Marcus's heart. He couldn't have. Not my family. This isn't happening. A flicker of anger clashed with overwhelming confusion. Your family's legacy is built on lies. Anna's voice rose in a crescendo of righteous fury. Lila's suffering was a front, a distraction for their dirty operations. Didn't you see? The bullying was strategic to keep us obscured. We've all been played, Lila cried, desperation flashing in her eyes. Marcus stumbled backward, their words striking like blades. You're saying my uncle created this chaos intentionally? That he's behind Lila's pain? Yes. Lila's voice surged, newfound strength shimmering through the tremors. And now, he's coming for all of us. As the realization set in, the walls of Marcus's world began to crash down. The game had transformed radically. Jade, Lila, whispers of betrayal wrapped in a familial cloak, deep secrets intertwined with the truths he held dear. And with the impending threat of his uncle looming over them, what would be the cost of confronting a monster wearing a familiar face? Get ready, Marcus whispered, a spark igniting in his core. This isn't over. It's just beginning. As the weight of betrayal crashed over him, Marcus felt every fiber of his being coil with urgency. The air thickened, charged with an electric tension that threatened to erupt. With Lila's fierce determination shining like a beacon in the storm, Marcus knew they were standing at the edge of something monumental. Get ready. His voice trembled as he steadied himself, determination flickering into life amid the chaos. This isn't over. It's just beginning. But before he could formulate a plan, a sharp knock echoed through the office, shattering their fragile moment. The door flung open, and a figure stepped inside. A woman draped in shadows, her presence casting an unsettling pall over the room. The instant Marcus laid eyes on her, recognition slammed into him like a freight train. Rebecca. It slipped from his lips, disbelief twisting into disbelief. His estranged sister, thought to be lost to the shadows of their family's dark past, stood before them, her eyes burning with an intensity that revealed a deeper struggle. Marcus. Her voice held a tremor, raw and furious. You need to listen. Everything you know it's all a lie. A hushed silence blanketed the room. Breaths caught in throats as tension rocketed through the group. Lila's eyes widened in horror, while Kelly retreated slightly, uncertainty flickering beneath her bravado. What do you mean? Marcus stammered, shaking his head as if he could dispel the horror with sheer will. You disappeared, Why now, after all this time? I had to, Rebecca replied, stepping closer, defiance mingling with exhaustion. I wanted to protect you, but now it's too late. They're after you, and Lila knows too much. You're all in danger. Danger? Anna echoed, her voice rising. You haven't been here. You have no idea what danger looks like. Enough. Rebecca snapped, and in that instant, the fierceness in her gaze turned from defiance to pain. I'm the one who should have been protecting Lila. She's my daughter. The revelation hit like a thunderbolt, ricocheting off walls and shattering every assumption. Time slowed as Marcus wrestled with the weight of the truth. Lila was not just the girl they were trying to save. She was his niece, born from the treachery of their family's past, tangled in the deceitful web spun by their parents. No! Lila gasped, stumbling back, her confusion morphing into deepening despair. That can't be true! You lied! Tears glimmered in Rebecca's eyes. I was forced to give you up, Lila. Your father he was involved in something sinister, and I had to protect you from it. I didn't want you to carry the scars of our family's mistakes. Maya looked from Lila to Marcus, her innocence slipping through her fingers like sand. This can't be happening. Our lives are connected in ways we don't even understand. Marcus felt the ground tremble beneath his feet, the layers of family history crashing down around them, unveiling a compounding chaos. But knowing this now, this changes everything. Suddenly, Justin's phone buzzed violently against the desk, catching everyone's frayed attention. They turned to find the screen lighting up with a live feed from a news outlet. Breaking news erupted, and the chaos overtook the room once more. Police are responding to a situation at the headquarters of Marcus Reed Enterprises. The anchor's voice blared. Urgency palpable. Sources say a high-stakes confrontation is taking place, one involving allegations of financial misconduct and bullying at various schools, with ties leading back to a web of influential families. Developing news will follow as events unfold. The truth flooded over Marcus like icy water, a dawning realization settling deep in his bones. This was only the beginning of a spiraling chain reaction, and the connection to Lila was a harbinger of impacts yet to come. Each revelation spiraled further, gravity amplifying their danger as they stood on the brink of total exposure. In the eye of this storm, relationships frayed, loyalty questioned. Would the family ties forged from the ashes bind them closer, or would they tear them apart? As thunder rolled and rain cascaded down the glass, Marcus felt the last vestiges of his world slip further from his grasp. It was a reckoning, a clarion call for revolution. Would Marcus be ready to face the truth, or would he too become another victim in a game orchestrated by forces far beyond their control? The storm continued to rage outside, each clap of thunder echoing the turmoil in Marcus's chest. The newsroom buzzed with breaking stories, while he stood frozen, overwhelmed by the chaotic web of revelations spiraling around him. The truth hung in the air, a noose tightening with each passing moment. Danger? He echoed, trying to process his sister's words. "What do you mean we're all in danger?" "You don't understand." Rebecca's voice trembled as she stepped further into the room, urgency spilling from her. "This isn't just about dragging your name through the mud. Jade Black isn't acting alone." "Then who is she working with?" Marcus shot back, heart racing with a cocktail of anger and dread. "I can't explain everything now, but you need to trust me. Jade has powerful allies. This is bigger than you." "Bigger than me?" Anna interjected, her voice rising sharply. "What could be bigger than all of our lives at stake?" As walls of reality wavered around them, a chilling recognition washed over Marcus. This could spiral into something catastrophic, tearing apart everything he thought he knew. But before he could articulate his fears, Justin's phone buzzed again, a cacophonous siren blaring through the calm in the storm. Another notification? "It's going viral. Lila, they're connecting you to all of this." Justin's voice was edged with panic, urgency palpable in the air. "No, wait!" Lila shouted, her voice barely breaking through the din. "I need to say something." Thunder cracked above them, an exclamation punctuating her plea. "You need to listen. It's more than just bullying. There's something I discovered last week while I was investigating online." But her words collided with shock when a sharp bang reverberated through the room, and the window shattered with a violent crash, glass exploding outward like a shower of diamonds. Everyone instinctively ducked, panic swirling in the charged air. "What the?" Marcus's voice trailed off as chaos erupted. "Get down!" Rebecca shouted, shielding Lila, as heavy footsteps thundered into the office, drowning out screams. A shadowy figure surged through the broken frame, silhouetted against the stormy sky, face obscured beneath a cap pulled low. "Marcus Reed," a voice boomed, harsh and commanding. It felt like a storm crashing through their chaotic reality. "We need to talk." Before Marcus could react, the figure lunged forward, gripping his collar and forcing him against the wall. His breath fell ragged, the chaos of fury mixing with adrenaline. They were in a fight for survival. "Who the hell are you?" Marcus demanded, trying to regain control. The man leaned closer, his breath warm and rancid against Marcus's face. "You really don't know, do you? All your life, you've been blind to the truth. Your father's sins run deeper than you think." Lila watched, fear flooding her features. "No, this isn't about my dad. It's about stopping Jade. We have to save our families and the kids she's targeting." But the man's laugh sent chills racing down Marcus's spine. "What a naive little girl you are." His voice dropped to a mockingly sweet tone. "Your father's legacy is tied to everything happening now. This is not a battle of redemption. It's a last-ditch effort to bury it all." And then the man's smirk faded, replaced with a grave seriousness. "And you, Marcus, you're about to discover that blood isn't what binds you to your past. It's the truth. Not even your father, but your mother." At that, the room fell silent, a heavy stillness settling in. "What about my mother?" Marcus's voice shook as fragments of his past twisted uncomfortably. "She's been loyal to Jade. She's the one feeding her information. She's playing both sides, Marcus, and she's been doing it since the start." The revelation struck like lightning, illuminating the darkness of silence with a devastating truth. Marcus felt every second stretch painfully as the implications settled in his bones. Dread crawled at the edges of his consciousness, unraveling his foundation. Trust had been shattered, betrayed by the very essence of his family. Before he could process the magnitude of the moment, the lights flickered ominously, plunging them into half-light. The storm rumbled outside, echoing a sense of impending doom. "Get ready," the man warned ominously, grounding Marcus with the weight of the revelation. "Because the truth will erode everything you've built, and once it's unleashed, you'll wish you had never uncovered it." And just like that, the fight had transformed into a battle of power and deception. The man stepped back, his shadow lengthening, darkening the room. "Your life changes tonight. Choose your allies wisely, because they'll determine whether you rise from these ashes." And as the room plunged into darkness, Marcus stood poised on the edge of ruin, too deep within the muck of betrayal to turn back now. What lay ahead felt like a maze of shadows, each corridor twisting into uncertainty, an inescapable chaos, weaving the fates of everyone involved. What consequences awaited them all as secrets threatened to tear the world apart? The storm raged on, rain hammering against the window in a relentless torrent, every droplet a reminder of the chaos that had invaded their lives. Marcus felt the shadows deepen around him as he processed the words that had just shattered his world. The man's presence loomed like a specter, each breath echoing with a chilling finality that left no room for doubt. "Your life changes tonight," the man had said, his form vanishing a collective breath caught in their throats, a pause pregnant with chaos. Then came the sound, a furious pounding echoing from the hallway, sharp and insistent, forcing its way into the fragile moment. "Open up! We know you're in there!" a voice barked, urgent and authoritative. Panic surged through Marcus as the realization of impending discovery crashed around him. "This isn't just about us," Lila cried, trembling as she gripped Anna's arm. "It's about the children. We have to stop Jade." The pounding intensified, each knock pounding against the walls like the tattoo of a furious heart. Then came a crash as the office door flew open, swinging on its hinges from the force of the intruder. A group of uniformed officers stormed in, their presence overwhelming, tension twisting the air taut. "Marcus Reed," one of them shouted, locking eyes with him, authority emanating from his strong frame. "We need you to come with us." "What? Why?" Marcus barked, incredulity mingling with a primal urge to tear away from this madness. "Evidence has surfaced against your company," the officer shot back, voice steady, but edged with urgency. "We believe you are involved in a conspiracy spanning multiple schools and influencing families to silence whistleblowers." Stunned gasps echoed from everyone around him. The unexpected weight of accusation loomed large, swirling doubt and fear. How could this be happening? And then, The shadowy figure stepped forward from the chaos of police uniforms. Rebecca, his sister, looking ashen, a lone tear carving down her cheek. "Rebecca?" His voice cracked, searching for answers in her haunted gaze. "I had to tell you," she whispered, anguish spilling into the space between them. "I thought I could save you, but—" Her voice faltered, the pain crystallizing in her features. "I don't know if I can protect you anymore." But before he could respond, the lead officer reached for a tablet, thrusting it toward Marcus. "We have records of every transaction linked to your name, including ones tied to—" He glanced to the side, expression darkening. "Your mother." "What do you mean?" Marcus recoiled, confusion morphing into heated anxiety. "She has been aiding Jade Black along with your uncle," the officer continued, ice in his voice. "We have details implicating her in forced removals of children from their families, using your influence to cover her tracks." It struck him in waves, the depths of his mother's betrayal, the fear clawing in his chest, suffocating him. No, she wouldn't. But another blow came, as if the storm outside found its way into his heart. The officer continued. "She also had a partner, someone we're searching for now. There are reports linking them both to other unsolved cases of missing children." Lila stepped back, horror rising in her voice. You can't mean." And then, in the thick of the chaos, a blaring notification from Rebecca's phone cut through like glass. She pulled it out, fingers shaking as she read aloud, her voice leading them into a dark abyss. "The police are also investigating reports from orphanages of children going missing in conjunction with a high-powered CEO's organization." The pieces fell into place like deadly dominoes, each revelation toppling into the next. "It can't be true," Marcus shouted, raw disbelief lighting his chest afire. But Rebecca stepped closer, a tremor wrestling with her resolve. "Marcus, listen, there's something I didn't tell you. Children can be fitted with chips without anyone knowing. One of those kids is my son." A brutal silence enveloped the room, the ground beneath Marcus's feet shifting, cracking wide open as he took in her words. "Your son?" he echoed, heart racing. The truth crashed over them, a tidal wave of betrayal and shattered trust. It all tangled together, the legacy, the lies, the lives entwined in a dark tapestry of reveal. The police stood firm, waiting, patient, unnervingly. "We suggest you all cooperate," the officer continued, a solemnity in his voice, "because what's about to come out could destroy everything you thought you knew and endanger lives beyond your own." And in that moment, as the house of cards trembled under the weight of their hidden truths, their fates interlocked in a profound way, Marcus understood. This fight wouldn't just change lives, it would consume them entirely. What lay ahead was a maelstrom of consequence, just waiting to unfurl. As the storm outside unleashed its final fury, the tension in the room grew almost tangible. Marcus stood with the police officers, the weight of his mother and uncle's betrayals settling heavy on his shoulders. But now was not the time to buckle. He had to act. "Listen," Marcus spoke, his voice steady despite the chaos inside him. "We need to stop Jade and uncover the truth about my family's involvement in this crisis." The lead officer nodded, sensing the urgency in his tone. "We need your cooperation, Marcus. Help us gather the information you have. The sooner we do, the sooner we can protect the kids." Anna put her hand on Lila's shoulder, a small show of unity. "We'll help too. Lila deserves safety, and we need to expose this." Lila's eyes shone with determination. "We can't let them win. We'll fight together." Rebecca turned to her son, barely able to speak. "I'm so sorry for what you've gone through, Lila. I never wanted to drag you into this." Lila's expression softened. "We all have our battles. We can face this one together." With a shared resolve, they created a plan. Over the next few hours, they gathered evidence, piecing together the connections between Jade Black, Marcus's mother, and his uncle. Each document uncovered felt like pulling a thread that threatened to unravel the entire tapestry of deceit that surrounded them. As dawn broke, the storm finally began to wane, light pushing through clouds like hope, breaking a dark spell. The relief was palpable. They would go to the press and tell the world what was really happening. Marcus felt a sense of clarity wash over him. "Today, we take back our story," Marcus declared, a fire igniting in his heart. "This ends now." With the police backing them, they approached a local news station, ready to share their findings. The cameras rolled. Each individual spoke truthfully about their experiences. As Lila recounted her struggles with bravery, the support from Marcus, Anna, and Rebecca transformed a chilling story into one of resilience. After the broadcast, as people rallied around Lila, Marcus felt a wave of hope wash over him. This wasn't just about exposure. It was about healing. Families were starting to reconnect. Slowly but surely, they would piece their lives back together, one piece at a time. With a last look at Lila, who was now surrounded by newfound friends, Marcus felt lighter. They had weathered the storm together. They had defied the darkness. As the group embraced, relief washed over them. "What now?" Maya asked quietly, her voice full of wonder. Rebecca smiled, looking around at the people she had reunited with. "Now we rebuild together." When Marcus stepped outside, the sun shone bright, a promise that each day could bring new beginnings. But in the distance, whispers lingered of secrets not yet uncovered, shadows still lurking. And just as he turned to rejoin the group, a notification buzzed on his phone. A message from an unknown number. "Your family has more to answer for. This isn't over." Marcus's heart raced, the echoes of betrayal still fresh in his mind. "You must subscribe now and be part of every twist and turn of this journey." This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this gripping ending. And don't wait another second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know how this ends. Only true fans understand the power of supporting the channel through these actions. Let's go.